degree from the University of Life. And with her experiences, I reckon she'll have some really good advice for today's guests. Please make very welcome Nina Carter. Now, I was saying, you know, my days when I was in the girl band, we used to look at you up there doing it all like ooh-ah, but you've really lived.
Oh, I have, yeah. I had a wonderful time as a model, and I had a fantastic time with Blonde on Blonde, which was the band I sang, in inverted commas. I'm not sure if we actually did really sing. We bluffed our way through that one. Of course, it's all the rage today, isn't it?
Well, yes, these days, was it lip syncing?
Absolutely, yeah.
But let's go back, and I want to tie in some of your experiences with the guests we'll be meeting today. First of all, modelling, body image.
Yeah.
Can you become obsessed? Did you become obsessed with how you look?
I didn't become obsessed in the way that I think girls today become obsessed. Not quite so much, because it was very new in those days. Modelling was kind of... photographic modelling was not something that everybody was drawn towards, and we weren't all, I don't think, so mesmerised and influenced by the images in magazines as kids are today.
Topless modelling and things like that?
Well, I mean, I started off as a glamour model because I wasn't tall enough to be a fashion model. You had to be 6 foot in those days, and so I was.
Wow, look at that
I was
picture.
kind of. Aimed towards the glamour industry, and in fact it catapulted me into fashion modelling in the end, because the glamour industry was something that was kind of frowned upon.
Yeah, it's very naughty.
It was quite rational. It was quite a radical thing to do.
You've had an eating disorder as well, haven't you?
Well, when I had my little rock band, I kind of got involved with the culture of the music industry, which was the kind of drug scene and
what sort
so
of
on
drugs?
and so forth. I did become addicted to cocaine, and it just happened because, I mean, despite the fact that you say I'm never going to touch that and I'm never going to do it, you know, if you're surrounded by things, peer pressure, and it was fashionable in those days. That was the designer drug. Today it's available at the school gate. I mean, kids can get these drugs from anywhere, which I find terrifying.
So when did you realise it was a problem then?
Well, like any drug or any addiction, it kind of seeps in and takes over your life before you really realise it. I mean, it's like having a cigarette. You have one and you think, oh, I only smoke after meal times. I don't smoke at any other time of the day. And before you know it, you're chatting to your friends and telling them, I only smoke after meal times, because it creeps into your life.
But was there a moment when you thought, did you ever think,
I never thought
really
I was
bad?
doing too much, no.
You know, so was it
No.
an outside influence that made you think that?
No, it was an illness. I mean, it was anorexia. Because what happened was I just stopped eating. Because it's a speed drug, it speeds up your metabolism so much that you miss meal times. You just forget about eating. And I just didn't eat for about 6 weeks. I lived on Complan and milk.
What weight did you drop?
I went down to 5.5 stone. And I was pretty, you know, pretty thin. I had my bones in my chest all came out, and I just looked like a walking skeleton.
And things like that? Or?
I had palpitations all the time when I was on cocaine, but it's just something that goes with the drug. You kind of get used to it. It's a horrendous thing, and looking back, I'm amazed it took me so long to see reason with it. It took an illness and a near-death experience for me to turn my life around.
What would you say, this is a really difficult question, a lot of people we meet on the show get to a point where they just don't feel they can go on, and you said when you were using cocaine, and I'm sure there have been other times. How do you start the journey back? Because that's what we're going to be talking to all of our guests today. How do you start the journey back?
Well, I was very fortunate, I suppose, because after my operation, because in fact what happened, my stomach shrank and slipped into my throat, and my throat shut, and I had to have an operation to release my stomach again. And I was in hospital for 4.5 months, and I had a surgeon, his name was Mr. Hill, and he was quite a very intelligent chap, and he came into my room and he said, Nina, you go back to your friends and the people that you're hanging out with. I guarantee you'll be dead in about 6 months, if you're lucky, probably before that. He said, so if you want to live, he said, I suggest you get out of London, you change your job, you change your circle of friends, and you try and do something completely different. And I said, well, what can I do? I'm a model. I mean, I've been a model since I was 15. I'd have no qualifications. I left school and had no qualifications. I want to work in a shop. I don't want to do that. I mean, what can I do? And he said, I don't know. He said, but there's the telegraph. Find yourself a job. And he threw it on my bed.
So what job did you find?
I became a cleaner.
Where?
I took the job as a cleaner on a farm in Shear in Sussex. And I got £18 a week, and from £1,000 a day, and I cleaned this lady's farmhouse, and we became great friends. I exercised her horse. I would ride the horse through the countryside. And
was that good for your head, do you think?
It was great for my head. I started to meet real people. I eventually looked after her son, who was about 12 years old. I became a part of the family, and of course I still was a household name at that time. Therefore, everybody in the area kind of recognised me and said, Nina, my daughter's going to a wedding on Saturday. You wouldn't like to do her makeup for you, would you? And I said, yeah, I'll do her makeup. And before long, I was making up the whole of Sussex.
But you made a circle of friends who were real friends. It's interesting. I mean, I'm biased, but my husband's one of the best counsellors that there are around. And one thing he says is, for people who are stuck in any particular rut, sometimes you have to make a change.
Yes.
Any change.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that surgeon gave you really wise words of wisdom.
Yes, and I do it all the time. I mean, I've changed my life so many times and reinvented myself so many times. It kind of puts a bit of life back into you. It makes you feel good about yourself. Change of job, a change of environment, change your circle of, not your whole circle of friends, but if they're not influencing you in the right way, change them.
But what happens if you've got no self-esteem?
Well, this is something that you have to work on.
Because this is where cosmetic surgery comes in.
And there are no quick fixes. There are no ways of saying, press that button and you'll have confidence. You've got to work on it. And I think one of the most important things is changing your mindset and changing the kind of mental language that you have from negative language. And a lot of kids today, and I work with teenagers, I run teenage workshops, their mental language is, I don't like myself, my nose is too big, I wish I was taller, I'd like to be like I want bigger boobs, I want this,
You've
I
heard
want
that. That comes up a lot, bigger boobs.
All the time.
What do you think of 20-year-olds getting implants and
I think it's,
and the Jordans of the world?
Well, I think plastic surgery has its place in our society, and I think some people benefit from it. Anne Robinson has benefited from it. Sharon Osbourne looks great.
She's changed even again, Anne Robinson.
I mean, and it's worked for them, so I'm not knocking it, and it does work for some people.
Well, I'm talking about the...
But I think once they get obsessive and excessive with it, then I think there's a danger that they're not dealing with the mental aspect of plastic surgery, and to just steam in and have something done just so that you have this quick fix and you look better is not a solution.
I like your view, though, with the exercise, because I think that hard work, you'll only ever get to be the best you can be, but you created it, damn it, no surgeon.
Exactly. You see, you can say at the end of it, I did this, you've achieved something. Whereas if you go and have an operation, it was done for you, and you're never satisfied with it. It's like if you bring your children up and you do everything for them. They don't love you for it. They love you much more if you teach them how to do things themselves. And I think by working out in a gym and becoming you know, fitter and better physically, you can turn around to yourself, look in the mirror and say, God, I look good, and that's because I did it.
You're going to be good for the guest today.
And you feel great.
Thank you. All right. OK, and as I said, Nina's going to be with us throughout the show giving her advice. Coming... Well, Nina Carter's with us, and we're talking about cosmetic surgery. What do you think?
Well, actually, Janet, I think you look lovely now. I really do. And I think... Everybody has a choice, and your choice was that you wanted to spend money and better the way you look, and it's given you more confidence. And you're old enough to make that choice, but I think you must be very careful now. My advice, for what it's worth, and my opinion for what it's worth, is that you look great. I would leave it at that, because you can become addicted to plastic surgery, and once you go down that road, you'll end up being very unhappy. At the moment, you're happy, and I would suggest that you do join a gym, that you get some time management sorted out, and you get 3 trips there a week, 3 hours a week.
In the gym, you're talking about?
In the gym.
And you said you go to the gym?
Yeah, on a Monday, on a Wednesday, and on a Friday. You work in a pub Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
So
Hopefully Spaniel's ears will come back into fashion because I'll get them removed.
Let's come to Nina Carter, because I know before you looked at her, you said
yeah.
you'd take any
Heard of a lot
advice.
about it, yeah.
And we asked Nina about when she was modelling, and it was all about the natural look. What advice do you have,
God.
Nina?
well, I mean, you look lovely, but I think you've got to be very careful. I really do. I mean, you want to be in the glamour business. Just remember that the glamour business isn't forever.
I know, yeah.
It's short-lived. There's a hell of a lot of competition out there.
There
And
is.
whilst you look great, and I'm sure you're doing well, and your pictures are fantastic, how long have you got? You know, realistically, it's 5 years at the
Yes.
top, if you're lucky. And then what do? You might meet someone. Do you want to have children? How can you manage all that after all this surgery?
Yeah.
I mean, you look great now. Be careful messing with plastic surgery. I have friends that have done it, and I've seen some disastrous effects. You're young, you've got your whole life ahead of you, you're pretty, you've got a bubbly personality. Look towards the future. How can you use your talents? There must be other ways. Maybe you can break into television, into presenting,
My mum would
into
tell
all
you that.
sorts of things.
I sing as well. I do singing and stuff as well.
But you won't be able to if you
Yeah.
become some kind of freak.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, that's what happens. You get addicted to plastic surgery, and before you know it, I don't think you should have your boobs done again, because I personally think, I don't know what the guys in the audience think, but I think pert boobs are much more attractive than great, big, massive ones. And as you get older,
You put on weight,
you
don't
keep your shape better. The bigger you get, the droopier you become. So, you know, just look after your figure now. Get into the gym,
Yeah.
tone up, and do it for yourself and feel really good about yourself. You're obviously a perfectionist, and that goes with eating disorders, doesn't it? Try to just accept yourself now for who you are and what you are, and move on, and develop your personality and your inner self so that you feel happy with the overall thing, not just the way you look.
That's what I want.
Thank you.
I really do. Do you want it?
Darren, do you think you'll take the advice you've had and not get another boob job?
I'll still get bigger boobs.
You still will?
I'll listen. I'll take it into consideration, and I really do appreciate, especially Nina's like advice and stuff, because she's a legend kind of thing. But
You're not going to listen
no,
to
I will. But at the end of the day, as I've said, like all I want to be is happy, and I truly do believe, like, I just love boobs, and I just want more of them. So I want to get it. That's all. It's not twisted. I just love boobs. And I just.
So, Chantal, you and your sister Naomi used to be very close.
Very, very close.
How are you now?
She won't talk to me much. When my mum and dad got divorced, my sister took over the role of playing mum.
Right.
Cooking the dinners,
Yeah.
you know. So we were very close, and then we got really distant, and it happened very, very quickly.
Why do you think it happened?
I don't really know. She had a bad breakup with her boyfriend and turned to drugs. And
But
I
how
sort
did
of
you find out
realised-
about the drugs?
A friend of mine, they went on holiday together,
Right.
and they fell out, and my friend said, look, she's doing drugs, she'd taken ecstasy pills.
Right.
Naomi denied it and said that she was pretending because the guy was pressurising her.
So have you ever sat down and talked with her about this?
She won't talk.
So how do you bring it up? What do you say?
Well, I'm quite a blunt person. I will just turn around and say, look, can you not do coke tonight? Can you just behave yourself? But she'll freeze up, and one thing she'll come out with is, God, you know, don't talk to me about it. You make me want to go out and do drugs.
So do you actually follow her? Do you find yourself following her when you go out?
If we're out together, I won't let anybody near her.
Why?
Anybody at all.
Who you frightened might contact her?
I don't want her to buy a gram of cocaine off anybody. I don't want her to be
What about when she
around
goes
people
to the
that do
loo,
drugs. I tend to follow her.
I've done that. I followed somebody. They'd be shocked if they found out, but I did follow them, and it is... But they still look at you and deny it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you do?
I just feel like ripping my hair out. I don't know what to do with her. I'm just at the end now. I really don't know what else to do with her.
You sent her overseas,
Yes.
trying to get her off the drug. Did she
Yeah.
stay off the drug while she was overseas?
While she was overseas, yes.
Right.
She came back. She landed at the airport. Before she even phoned my dad and said, I've landed, she phoned her dealer.
Her dealer was the first person she called?
She called and organised some coke. She'd said that she had been craving the whole flight home. You
But
know,
did she actually tell you this? So she's admitting some bits? Or?
yeah, she's admitting some bits. She'll only admit it when she's on the come down and she's emotional.
Ah.
That's when she'll admit it. She goes from screaming
Right.
to then emotional, and it's the same repetitive pattern.
And sleep, you said, is one thing?
She'll sleep. She came in Sunday morning about 10 o'clock. My partner and I went over for dinner. She got up for 20 minutes. She was back to bed, and from what I believe, she didn't raise until Monday afternoon.
Now, where cosmetic surgery comes in here is that she's had some cosmetic surgery, and if I've got this right, she asked and got from your dad a nose job in the hope that having a nose job would stop her using cocaine?
She basically said, you know, I'm not going to snort cocaine, I don't want to ruin my new nose. She put it in a Rizzler and swallowed it. Not for very long, I don't know, I think she's snorting it now. But I think that was an excuse.
But she's had cosmetic surgery, she's had a nose job, she's had a boob job, she's had her teeth whitened. This is all about the outside. What do you want to say to her today about the inside?
She's a beautiful person, she really is. When she's not doing the drugs, she's caring, she's very, very loving. She's ruining herself, she's ruining her looks. She's very, very slim, she cannot afford to lose any weight.
And the cocaine will make her lose more
She has lost weight, she looks very frail, she looks fragile. She looks as if you cuddle her, you're going to hurt her. No, I know I'm small, but she is.
No, there's a
she's
look
very,
as well,
very,
isn't there?
and
There's
she,
a look.
you know, her complexion, she's usually got a very clear, bright
No,
complexion.
it goes to rubbish, doesn't it? So you want to tell her what, to own up to it?
I want to tell her to own up to it. I'm worried that I'm losing my sister. Not only that, but she's lost a lot of weight. She's woken us up in the night where she's having heart palpitations. I'm worried that she's actually going to end up in hospital and do some really serious damage.
Good luck in talking to her. Please welcome Naomi. So Naomi, you heard what your sister had to say.
I did, yeah. It's not quite as bad as you make out. I think you think that I do it more than I do. It's a recreational thing.
So you've never had to seek counselling or help?
I have sought counselling before because I thought that it was a bit out of control. I was kind of doing it 4 or 5 nights a week socially with friends.
But then it's not recreational then, is it?
It was socially.
It was socially?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying if somebody goes out and gets absolutely steaming drunk every night but has people around them, they're not an alcoholic, it's only when you're drinking at home. Is that your definition of someone with a habit?
No, I suppose not. And I do realise it's a problem. I do realise it's a problem, and that's why I agreed to do this with Chantel, because I know that I do need to get help.
Is that the first time you've heard your sister say that?
No, she realised when she went overseas, and that was why she agreed to go overseas. I just don't think she realises her addiction. I don't think she realises her addiction is as bad as I think it is, because she's not helping herself enough. You know, you need to really want to stop to be able to, and she's just not.
Do you think she
trying
really
hard
wants
enough.
to stop?
I don't know.
I do want to stop. I really do want to stop.
Can you go out and have a good time without using cocaine?
No. She doesn't feel confident. She's got such a low self-esteem. She's not confident at all.
Can you deal with any pressure without cocaine?
I can deal with pressure, yeah, in a normal environment, such as a work environment. I can deal with pressure, but as she said, I cannot go to a club. I really am not confident with myself, and taking cocaine will give me the confidence.
So when did you start using drugs?
About 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
What did you start on?
Speed.
And then?
I did ecstasy for a couple
You
of
did do
months.
ecstasy? Does that surprise you?
Yes.
Up until now, did you think this...
I never believed that she actually did the ecstasy. I never believed that she'd do speed.
You didn't know that until now?
Sorry.
How do you feel hearing that?
Upset.
Do you think it's even worse than you thought it was then? That she would keep that from you?
Yeah.
It was in the very early stages that I did that. I haven't done ecstasy or speed or anything like that.
How
for
often are you
about
using
5
cocaine
years.
then?
Weekly.
Weekly?
Mhm.
Is it something you can do without?
Yeah, if I'm out of the country, like when I was away for a month, I didn't.
But the first
want
person
it.
you rang was your dealer,
Yeah.
and you think it's not a problem?
No, I know it's a problem.
Yeah, but you don't realise it's as harsh or as severe as it
That's
sounds.
why I'm doing this and trying to get help now, because I know that it's too much.
What made you? Who contacted the show?
She did.
What made you suddenly realise that it was a problem?
Because I know it is. It's like a kind of vicious circle. I wake up the day after I've been doing it,
Yeah.
and it's like, right, I feel really bad. I really do not want to do that to myself again. A week on, and I've forgotten all about how bad I felt, and it's like,
Starting
yeah, we're
all over
going
again.
out to a nightclub. I'll get some cocaine.
Hello, I just wanted to say I was in the same situation probably about a year ago. Been clean for a year now, but the only way... The only way I got through it was getting proper professional help. There are meetings and places like that you can go to. You can go to Cocaine Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous.
NA, there are a lot of other groups.
NA, yeah.
What about
yeah.
your circle of friends? Because
I had to break all contact with everyone who dealt.
But then what do you do?
I just had to keep going to meetings every night. Every night I went to meetings, and then you meet other people that are in the same situation as you,
So it's a different...
and they push you and keep you going.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
It's got to be even harder for people who work with other people and are always in that circle. How do you break that? That's what you're asking. How do you break that cycle? Nina, we talked about addictions beforehand. What advice would you give?
Well, I don't think you can blame your parents' divorce on this. I think that you have a choice to either carry on with the lifestyle you have now or stop it, and stop it before you become ill. And I think...
You nearly died, didn't you?
I nearly died because of a cocaine addiction. I became anorexic because of it, because I stopped eating. And what became important to me was to have more cocaine. And it very nearly destroyed my entire life. I became so thin and so gaunt and so ill because of it. And it was that forced me to make me address the situation.
But would you have listened to anybody else until you were ready to own
I
up
think
to
the more
yourself?
people tell you to stop doing something, whatever it is, the more you want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like a rebellious thing. And taking a drug is you belong to a secret society. And you lie, you cheat, you become a very good actress.
You become a clique.
You become a part of a little clique of actors and actresses, and you can walk into the best restaurant and think, I feel great tonight, while you're taking something.
And then they dash off to the...
And then it wears off, so you need some more. And it's a very false sense of security. You need to find out who you are and work on yourself and build your confidence. You're a very beautiful young girl. I'm sure your parents love you very much, just as your sister does. And whilst it's fun, supposedly, in inverted commas, to take these things, it can kill you. And I think it's a dangerous game, so be very, very careful.
Thank you. Hey, Naomi, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be different changing your circle of friends, but is that something you're willing already to do?
Yeah, I am. I mean, more so at the moment, I'm cutting myself off from certain friends because, I mean, you'll go out one night and everybody will go back to somebody's house because everybody's taking coke, and I sit there and I can look around sometimes and just think, this really isn't me. I don't want to be doing this.
So maybe your family